run! They score! They score!
Welcome to God's Playbook with your host, Father Rico Passero.
Lock at the 20, 10, 5, touchdown! Touchdown!
Let's play ball.
Friends, welcome back to God's Playbook. Today, the church gives us the beautiful passage of God revealing himself to Moses in the burning bush. The burning bush is a well-known story in the scriptures in which Moses was first drawn by curiosity of this tree on fire. The bush is actually a tree, by the way. And the reality that he had never thought he would encounter God. What I want us to focus is our encounter with God every time we come to church, and the importance of using the church as sacred space. God calls out to Moses and says, "Moses, Moses," and Moses says, "Here I am." God says, "Come no closer, remove the sandals from your feet, for the place on which you are standing is holy ground. I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob." Moses then hides his face and was afraid to look at God. Friends, when we enter the inside doors of the church, we too should have the same reverence that Moses had, for this is sacred ground. For all those who minister at Mass, the raised sanctuary is also sacred ground, that any time we are to enter, notice that we are to bow to the altar or genuflect to the tabernacle, the priests, the ministers, the altar servers, the cantor, whoever is approaching, is to see that as sacred ground. Now, while we no longer remove our sandals, our shoes from our feet, we still need to recognize it's holy ground. And this is extended to the part of the church which we also represent blessed grounds, where the pews are, where the people of God sit. So again, as soon as we enter the church, our attitude, our demeanor, our reverence should change. It's not a community center, not the local coffee shop for us to visit and catch up with parishioners. But what's so important is that we, as we approach our pew, are reverent, recognizing Jesus' presence in the Blessed Sacrament in the tabernacle, and make sure that we always genuflect, or if we're not able to genuflect because of health issues, with a profound bow to show our respect to God. Also, to respect the sacred silence that we should be respecting in church as well. That, again, we shouldn't be visiting with the people beside us. How was the game last night? How are your kids doing? Before Mass, the focus is to get us into a zone, recognizing that we are in the presence of God. And just as Moses bowed his head, we should be bowing our heads in prayer as well. Once Mass is ended, then it's a great time for us to visit and still be respectful if there's another Mass coming in, to make sure that we use our foyers or perhaps outside of the church to do our visiting, so that the sacred space is always respected as Jesus is present to us there. So when we hear of the encounter with Moses, friends, this is also the encounter that God has with us in prayer. So once we recognize we are on sacred ground, then it's this dialoguing with God, listening to his voice, bringing to him our needs, our joys, our sorrows, our crosses, and knowing that just as he had that beautiful and intimate encounter with Moses, God has that beautiful encounter with us. I encourage you, anytime you are passing by your local parish, stop in. Walk on that holy ground. Spend time with the Lord in a very beautiful and profound way. Can you do that in your own home? Yes. But it's not holy ground. The church is consecrated grounds in which God resides, body, blood, soul, and divinity in the Eucharist, and a great opportunity for us to bow before him. When you're driving past a church, recognizing the presence of God, it's always nice to make the sign of the cross or say, "Jesus, I love you," as you pass a Catholic church, recognizing that Jesus is present in the tabernacle inside. When you're on vacation and you pass a church, what again, an opportunity for you to stand on holy and sacred ground and say hi to the Lord, thanking Him for the gift of your vacation, especially as we enjoy these beautiful summer months. So, friends, like Moses, we have the privilege of walking on sacred ground. Maybe be aware, just as He is aware, of the presence of God, and always show the reverence and respect that God is due, first and foremost, to Himself, and then also the sacred space, God's home, which we call our church. For God's Playbook, friends, I'm Father Rico. God loves you, and so do I.
If you like what you hear, please consider supporting us using any of our affiliate links in the description below via Buzzsprout, Ko-Fi, or GoFundMe. Thanks, and God bless.